At 65, I've seen something most textbooks forget to mention. Two people, same age, but one moves like they're 45, while the other feels trapped in an 80-year-old body. What makes the difference? It's not luck, and it's not Genesis choices. Daily, simple choices. Would you like to reverse 10 years of biological aging in just 3 months? According to the AARP, over 80% of Americans over 60 can reverse biological aging just by changing how they eat, move, and rest. Yes, reverse aging. My friend George did. He was 62, tired, bloated, and on 3 medications. 6 months later, he wasn't just thinner. He laughed more, slept deeper, walked faster. His doctor said he looked a decade younger. What changed? 4 things. He tamed his insulin, revived his mitochondria, welcomed back natural fats, and lived in rhythm. These are the 4 keys I'll share with you today. Not magic, not theory, but habits grounded in science and real life. Ready to feel younger than your age? Let's start with the most silent saboteur of youth, insulin resistance. Most people think aging begins with wrinkles or stiff joints. But I've learned, through years of listening to bodies not just textbooks, that aging often starts much earlier and much quieter. It begins deep inside your cells, when they stop responding to one of the most vital signals of life, insulin. That's the real starting point of aging. Not what you see in the mirror, but what your cells stop hearing. Insulin is like a trusted key. Its job? To gently open the door and let sugar-glucose center your cells to be turned into energy. But over time, that key starts to lose its fit. The door sticks. The cells don't answer. The sugar stays in the bloodstream, uninvited, and the body panic starts banging louder. It produces more insulin, more keys, more pressure, more knocking, less response. The result? Chaos behind closed doors. And slowly, this silent chaos accumulates. Fat builds up in your liver. Inflammation simmers throughout your tissues. Arteries stiffen. Blood sugar teeters. Energy tanks. Focus fades. Mood swings creep in. And you? You don't feel just a little off. You feel older. Not by months, but by decades. A groundbreaking study from Stanford uncovered a truth most people never hear. 88% of American adults show signs of energy imbalance in the body. What I call metabolic confusion. Often long before they feel anything is wrong. You may not know it's happening, but your body does. A little belly fat that clings no matter what. Afternoon brain fog that turns sharp, minds hazy. A craving that feels less like hunger and more like desperation. These aren't random. They're metabolic alarms. Do you often feel hungry shortly after eating or crash hard by 2 p.m.? That might not be just aging. That might be insulin resistance, your body's early cry for help. But here's the beauty. This path is reversible. Not with prescriptions, with patterns. Let me tell you about Hiroshi. He was 58, a graphic designer from Seattle, quick-witted, warm, and always curious. But when he came to see me, he said something that struck me. I sleep 8 hours. I eat healthy. But I feel dim. On paper, his tests were normal. But I've learned to look deeper. His insulin level 11 after fasting was far too high. His blood fat levels were out of balance, a clue that his body was quietly storing fat in all the wrong places. We didn't overhaul his life. We made small, targeted shifts, cut the refined sugars, stop eating after dinner, switch to whole foods. He ate within a 10-hour window, sometimes 9 to 7, sometimes 8 to 6. 3 months later, the change wasn't just in the numbers. It was in his eyes. His skin glowed. His waist shrank. His laughter came easier. I didn't know I could feel this clear again, he said. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a pattern your body can recognize as healing. Start by removing refined carbs-white bread, sugary cereals, processed snacks. Choose whole, colorful, unprocessed food. Shrink your eating window not to punish, but to let your insulin rest. Finish dinner before sunset, if you can. Because insulin resistance isn't about willpower, it's about rhythm. When you change the rhythm, the music of your body returns. These aren't restrictions. They're reminders to your cells, to your pancreas, to your future self that you're safe now, that you're healing, that you're coming back. Because the moment insulin calms down, the door to youth begins to open. Now, from insulin, let's move to the real engine room, the place where energy is created, vitality is born, and aging can be slowed at its root, your mitochondria. Now, from insulin, let's move to the true engine of energy, your mitochondria. If insulin is the key that unlocks your cells, then these tiny powerhouses are what keep the lights on. Tucked deep inside nearly every one of your trillions of cells, they're responsible for transforming the food you eat into the very life force you feel. Not just energy for walking or working, but for healing, thinking, remembering, and dreaming. These cellular engines are the reason your heart beats, your lungs expand, your brain holds onto the scent of a grandchild's hair. But when they begin to falter, so do you. At first, the signs are easy to miss. You wake up already a little tired. Your muscles grumble after mild activity. Words slip away mid-sentence. Coffee becomes less of a pleasure, more of a survival tool. And then, eventually, the question arises, why do I feel so old, even when I'm doing everything right? Do you still feel exhausted, even after a full night's sleep? That might not be age-injit, could be your energy systems whispering, not in pain, but in depletion. They're not broken. They're simply overwhelmed, undernourished, and overstimulated. A study from Harvard Medical School found a direct link between cellular energy decline and conditions like heart disease, Alzheimer's, and premature aging. Not because these systems are weak, but because modern life works relentlessly against them. Refined sugars, industrial oils, plastic-wrapped meals, noise without pause, blue light at midnight. These don't just drain your mind, they fry your biological batteries. But there's hope, tremendous hope. Your energy factories are not fixed in number. They are responsive. With the right environment, they don't just survive, they flourish. I think of Yasuko, a 65-year-old school teacher from Kyoto who came to me with kind eyes and a tired voice. I sleep, I eat, but I still feel drained, she said. We didn't prescribe pills. We gave her what her cells had been quietly pleading for, nourishment and rhythm. She started eating wild salmon twice a week. She sautéed her greens in real butter. She traded television for evening walks under cherry blossoms. No screens after 9 p.m. fresh air while sleeping. 3 months later, she sent me a photo from Mount Kurama arms wide open. Her message read simply, "Alive again." You don't need a cleanse. You need consistency. You need fuel. You need kindness. Eat the fats, your energy systems, love avocados, egg yolks, butter from grass-fed cows, oily fish from clean waters. These aren't luxuries. They're what your cells have been waiting for. Move your body gently, joyfully. A stroll around the block, a light game of golf, bingo with friends, a slow dance with someone you love. Even 10 minutes of movement tells your inner systems, we are still here, stay strong, and rest, truly rest. 7 to 8 hours in darkness and quiet isn't indulgent. It's when your cells repair, recycle, and renew. When the worn out fades and the new begins, even your breath is part of the healing. Slow, deep, belly-centered breathing oxygenates your blood and calms your inner machinery. Just 5 minutes before dinner, or at sunrise. That's enough to feel the shift. Because when your cellular engines are alive and well, so are you. They give you more than energy. They give you resilience, presence, vitality. They restore the version of you that felt long gone. And here's the most beautiful truth of all. These tiny engines aren't just your past, they are your future. And every breath, every bite, every quiet moment, you decide how brightly they burn. But mitochondria can't do their job alone. They need the right fueling that brings us to natural fats. For decades, fat was the villain of every health headline. We were told butter would clog our arteries, that egg yolks were dangerous, that low-fat everything was the path to wellness. Grocery store shelves filled up with skim milk, fat-free yogurts, margarine tubs, and boxes proudly stamped low-fat or heart-healthy. It became not just nutrition advice, it became cultural dogma. But now, decades later, the evidence is it tells a different story. A large meta-analysis in the British Medical Journal, reviewing data from hundreds of thousands of people, found no significant link between natural saturated fats and heart disease. The real culprits were the ones hiding behind the low-fat labels: refined sugars, trans fats, and chronic inflammation. In trying to remove fat, we removed flavorant, replaced it with chemicals, additives, and processed carbs that sent our blood sugar soaring and our cellular engines scrambling. Natural fats like those from avocados, egg yolks, olive oil, and grass-fed butter are not the enemy. In fact, they're some of the most powerful allies your body can have. They stabilize your blood sugar after meals. They feed your brain the fattiest organ in the body. They support hormone production, reduce cravings, and protect your mitochondria from oxidative stress. They are not optional, they are foundational. I remember Mary, a 70-year-old retired nurse from Ohio, who came to me with frustration in her voice. "I've been doing everything right," she said. "Low-fat toast, skim milk, no butter, fat-free everything, and I keep gaining around the middle." She wasn't overeating. She was starving at a cellular level. Are you eating low-fat and still gaining weight around your waist? Maybe the problem isn't too much fat, but not the right kind. We made one simple change. We brought the fat back. She started her mornings with scrambled eggs cooked in real butter. Lunch became avocado toast with rye bread. Snacks became a handful of walnuts instead of fat-free pretzels. 6 weeks later, she called me giggling. "I zipped up my jeans from 10 years ago," she said. "And I'm not hungry every 2 hours like before." You don't have to count macros or go full keto. You simply need to restore balance. Swap industrial seed oil canola, corn, soybean for extra virgin olive oil or ghee. Replace margarine with real butter. Trade your sugary cereal for eggs and spinach. Try roasting vegetables in coconut oil instead of dousing them in fat-free dressing. The goal isn't restriction, it's remembering what real food feels like. When you eat a meal rich in natural fat, your body knows. Your cells quiet down. Your brain clears. You feel full, not stuffed, just nourished. It's as if your metabolism exhales. And science backs this up. Natural fats reduce insulin spikes, improve HDL, good cholesterol, and protect against neurodegeneration. They don't fuel inflammation, they fight it. What inflames your body is not butter from grass-fed cows. It's sugar-laced, low-fat yogurts with artificial fruit and a long list of unpronounceable ingredients. Let's be clear, not all fats are created equal. The fats in fried fast food, in shelf, stable chips, in partially hydrogenated spreads, those are the ones that betray your health. But real fats, the ones your grandmother used, the ones your great-grandfather cooked with, those are different. They come from nature, they come from tradition, and your body still remembers how to use them. Natural fats aren't your enemy, they're your long-lost allies. They don't clog life, they carry it. They don't confuse your body, they comfort it. And perhaps most important of all, they teach us a new way to relate to food, not with fear, but with trust. Eating right is the first step, but to truly turn back time, you must also live right day by day, rhythm by rhythm. We often treat aging as a timeline, something that happens inevitably, tick by tick. But your body doesn't age by calendar alone. It ages by rhythm. And when that rhythm is disrupted by stress, by screens, by poor sleep or restless routines, the body forgets how to repair. That's why two people the same age can live in entirely different states of health, one vibrant, the other exhausted. Your body is not a machine. It's a garden alive, adaptive, sensitive to light, sound, stillness, and care. And like any living system, it thrives when nourished consistently, not just fed occasionally. The truth is, your biological age, the real measure of how old your body feels and functions, is shaped far more by your daily patterns than your DNA. According to the CDC, adults over 60 should aim for 150 minutes of movement per week and at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. But this isn't about checklist. It's about building a life where those needs are naturally met. And often, it starts with light. Do you start your day with sunlight or with your screen? 10 minutes of morning light isn't just refreshing it. Resets your circadian rhythm, helps regulate your hormones, and even improves insulin sensitivity. A short walk before breakfast can do more for your metabolism than any supplement. And then there's movement. You don't need to run marathons or hit the gym 6 days a week. Gentle, joyful movement is more powerful than most people realize. Gardening, tai chi, walking your dog around the block, dancing to your favorite oldies in the living room. These moments don't just move your body. They activate longevity. They tell your muscles, your bones, your mitochondria, we're still in motion, keep growing. Sleep, too, is sacred. It's not a passive state. It's when the real healing begins. Your brain flushes out toxins. Your cells repair DNA. Your immune system reorganizes. And yet, many older adults struggle with it. The culprit? Often, it's blue light, late-night news, and overstimulation. That's why I always recommend a simple nighttime ritual. Dim the lights after dinner, shut off all screens an hour before bed, and allow silence to settle in. Your body remembers what darkness is for. Let it return. Daniel, 60, came to me not because he was sick, but because he felt off. He ate reasonably well, took his vitamins, even walked sometimes, but his energy was dull. His voice lacked sparkle. "I just feel old," he said. We didn't start with supplements. We started with rhythm. Morning sun, barefoot contact with earth, a consistent bedtime. A walk in the park not for exercise, but for presence. Within weeks, he began to feel it not a dramatic transformation, but a gentle unfolding. "I didn't change everything," he told me. "Just the way I start and end my day." And that was enough. And then there are the micro habits. The ones that seem too small to matter until they change everything. Standing and stretching every hour. Drinking water between meals, not during. Eating without rushing. Resting your eyes in silence after reading. Smiling when you wash your face. Saying, "Thank you," before sleep. These are not luxuries. They are acts of alignment. And let's not forget the most underestimated medicine of all, joy. Laughter reduces cortisol, boosts immune function, and relaxes blood vessels. Have you laughed today? Call a friend, watch a comedy, sit on the porch and wave at a neighbor. These moments matter because your cells feel everything you feel. These habits don't just restore youth today. They become your shield for the decade ahead. They protect your brain, your heart, your mood, and your future. They are proof that healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's a sunrise, a walk, a deep breath, a good night's sleep. And when you repeat them often enough, they become more than habits. They become who you are. Now let's gather them together, your 4 keys to reversing the clock. So here they are, simple but powerful. Tame your insulin, ignite your mitochondria, embrace natural fats, live in rhythm. They are not shortcuts. They are not trends. They are timeless truths, rediscovered by science and confirmed by the quiet transformations I've seen in hundreds of lives. These 4 pillars don't demand perfection. They ask for presence. They ask for attention. They ask for the kind of care you'd offer, a garden you love, consistent, patient, nourishing. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to begin. Because change doesn't begin with a revolution. It begins with a single choice. Maybe it's your breakfast tomorrow eggs and avocado instead of sugary cereal. Maybe it's stepping outside into the sun for 10 minutes before checking your phone. Maybe it's simply going to bed 1 hour earlier, letting your mitochondria and your mind rest in true darkness. Don't underestimate these acts. They may feel small, but to your cells, they are thunder. Each one is a signal. We're safe, we're supported, we're healing. Because age is not just what's printed on your ID. It's how your cells feel when you rise each morning. And that you can change. You are not too late. You are not too old. You are right on time. As one Harvard doctor wisely said, youth is energient. You can reclaim it. If the ticking of time has made you feel like vitality is behind you, I want to offer a different vision. Your vitality is not behind you. It's waiting within you. It's been quiet, perhaps forgotten, but never gone. The clock will keep ticking forward, but your biology, your spirit, those can move in reverse. With every walk in the sun, with every forkful of nourishing food, with every night of deep sleep, and every morning of light-filled breath. So don't wait. Start today. Right now. Not with a full program, not with a list of rules, just with one gentle act, the one your future self will whisper thank you for, because your body remembers youth. Let's help it remember how to return. And this time, as a chase, but as a homecoming.